Hi, welcome back to the Child's View. We're going to continue our conversation with Josette Ortega, also known as the Child Whisperer. And for those of you who did not see the first segment, she is an elementary school teacher on the East Coast, and she's known as the Child Whisperer because of her approach to helping children with challenging behaviors. So today, though, on this segment is going to be for parents. So in this segment, we're going to talk about strategies that she has used in the classroom and also has helped parents transition and use at home to help transform their children's behavior. So welcome back, Josette, and go ahead and share with us some strategies that parents can do at home.
Thank you for having me again, guys. Yes, there's many strategies that parents can use at home. For the student, as a teacher with behaviors, you always team up with the parents, and it's good to give them what you're using in the classroom, so also for them to be able to apply it at home. So what's helped me with some of my parents in the past dealing with their child and my student is I create a Myspace in the classroom. So I suggest that they create a Myspace in the house, and this area is basically where their child can go self-regulate. If they're not having a good day, if they feel like they're gonna have like a tantrum or an outburst, it's an area that they can go and calm down. Usually with that strategy comes with a timer where they have a certain amount of time to go self-regulate, think about what they're gonna do, with the outcome of always, with the goal always being that they come back to the original task as they would in a classroom if there was a problem in the classroom. Also, what I give to my parents is consistency. In the classroom, why I feel I'm able to curb these behaviors is because I'm consistent, I'm firm, and I'm fair with my students. So at home, that may be difficult at times, but if you're consistent with your child, the behavior will change, whether you want them to do homework, or is it to make a bed, or whatever task you want them to do, and you feel like that you're having being challenged. These strategies of being consistent, having their Myspace that say, okay, if you don't want to do it right now and you're gonna have a tantrum or have a fit, go to your Myspace, relax, think about it, breathe in and out, and in that Myspace you can have like a pillow, maybe their favorite animal, or something that comforts them, that could bring down, they can self-regulate or whatever moment they're having, and then say, okay, you're gonna leave you there for a few minutes, put the timer on so that they can see it, and once that timer is up, you bring them back and they regroup. Okay, let's talk about it. What was it that upset you? Okay, so we're gonna do things different, but you still have to, you still have to wash the dishes, or you still have to make your bed, or you still have to do your homework. Always be consistent with the task. Don't just forget about it, because then they'll use that to manipulate the situation. So in a classroom, if the goal was for him to do an assignment and the child has a tantrum, go to your Myspace. That's your space, but you're gonna come back and you're gonna finish your work regardless of what happens. And the same thing you could implement at home. So consistency is very important. It could be frustrating, but I could guarantee you that after a couple of weeks of you not budging and sticking to the original task and sticking to the strategies, you're going to see results in your child.
Right. There's a question.
Oh, Josette, I do have a question. I love Myspace. I've used it in my classrooms, and it really works. But I can see parents kind of wanting to know what's the difference between the Myspace and a timeout. It's still kind of the same thing. What's your take on that? What's the difference between a timeout?
Timeout is almost like a negative thing. You don't always want to,
Exactly.
when you separate your child or tell them to go to a corner, it shouldn't be negative. It should be something. It's a positive situation. You're encouraging them to go there. It's not like you're going to time out because you're not listening. So they already have it in their mind that they're being punished. Myspace is not a punishment. A Myspace is saying, okay, I understand that you're frustrated and you're not going to do what I'm going to ask you to do right now. So let's just go to your space and have your quiet time. That's your personal space. I'm not punishing you. I'm giving you your space. Go to your zone. But then we're going to come back and want to talk about it, and we're going to continue the task that we started originally. So it's always good to approach it with a positive and not a negative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I can see parents confusing this. But if you take the negativity
Yes.
out of it, then, you know, we have to understand that sometimes when children are having those behaviors, it's uncomfortable for them too.
Right.
They don't understand why they're feeling
Yes.
the way they do, and so giving them a self-regulation spot
Tool,
is wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And,
that.
Josette, I remember you telling me that sometimes after you've instituted this in the class, that the child, when they feel they're about to lose it because of maybe overstimulation, then they themselves will walk themselves to their space,
Yes.
right?
Yes, exactly. So that in the beginning, you train them and you show them where they can go, and you explain to them what is happening. Like a timeout usually is like a chair or sit in the corner, but the timer, there's no talking, no doing this. In a MySpace, they're able to relax and just express themselves in their space away from everyone, so they could think about it. So that's another positive thing versus the way people view timeout as being negative. There's nothing around them. You're being punished until you comply. So the MySpace gives them like that chance to self-regulate. And in the classroom, after a couple of times, when you know these behaviors, they last. So it takes a while to curb a behavior. But once they know, okay, I have a MySpace, so if I feel overwhelmed with the classroom work or I'm feeling anxious, I'm going to get up and Ms. Ortega is going to let me go to MySpace, relax, and still listen because they're still in the classroom, and then rejoin the group again after they've already self-regulated. And you could do that at home also, whether you're in a family situation, whether you're one-on-one with your child. That MySpace is very helpful, and it's a very positive space because they'll eventually be like, I need to go to MySpace. I'm going to have a meltdown or whatever. They'll go and they'll relax, and they know eventually they'll understand that they have to come back and do what you asked them to do from the beginning.
That's awesome. And then also we were talking before we got on camera about the consistency between parents, right? So mom and dad, if you're not a single parent, having that consistency. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, we know there's so many different family dynamics, and that, you know, that could be a little problem at times, but being consistent across the board, whether it's with your child's teacher, whether it's with your significant other, whether you're in the same household, in order for your child, if you're seeing extreme behaviors, for that to curb, there has to be consistency from everybody who's involved with your child, whether that's the teacher, your significant other, an aunt, an uncle, a grandma if she's babysitting.
Yes.
So that wherever the child goes, he knows that everything is the same and everybody's on the same page. And it's hard at first, I'm not gonna lie, because they're gonna have the tantrums or whatever behavior they display. It sometimes usually gets worse before it gets better.
Right.
But I can tell you, it definitely gets better from experience. I've seen it. I've practiced my strategies, and I've seen behaviors change.
Awesome.
So, yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, well, I have to hand it to you because I teach college and I have taught elementary, but I like college better. One, because of the topics I'm teaching, but two, because those children can be a handful, and you're out there, you're in the battle, so to speak, and still doing it today. I know that you transformed your class last year. I remember that you got like the lowest scoring students, and you were able to bring them all up. So keep doing what you're doing. I mean, we need teachers like you in the field, and we're so glad that you're sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited because there's so many strategies that I could share, and but there's not enough time. So when the book comes out, I'll be sure to get that book out and get it in the hands of our educators, of our parents.
Good for you.
Because I can guarantee you'll find a couple of strategies in there that if you stick with it and you're consistent, your child or your student, their behavior will change. I can almost guarantee that because I've seen it and I've lived it and I've applied it to my students. So I'm talking from experience, not just because I've seen other people do it, but because I've actually done it and I've seen the transformation.
Awesome. It's good to have someone who's actually done it and lived through it. I
Exactly.
really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Josette. And thank you all for watching The Child's View. And hopefully we'll see you next time.